Hey, welcome to Dow Stock Talk, where I talk about numerous investment opportunities, but more specifically the stock market. Now, in this video, I'm going to be going over a few things you should consider before purchasing an ETF. Stay tuned. Alright, so here's just a few things that you might want to pay attention to before you end up getting an ETF. So, an ETF is a bunch of securities that's put in the basket in which you can trade like a regular stock. So, normally it could be a group of bonds, a group of stocks, a group of commodities that's supposed to track gold or silver, all kinds of stuff. So, one of the things you may want to pay attention to at first is how well that ETF is tracking on what it's supposed to mimic. For example, the S&P 500, that's one of the most popular indexes that people use to compare their portfolio. There's several ETFs that represents the S&P 500. Some do a better job than others. So in this case, you wanted to see various ETFs that match or mirror the S&P 500 so you can pick the best one. The next thing I would pay attention to is the expense ratio. Normally, ETFs have expense ratios where it's a small percentage that you have to pay to hold it annually. Most of the time, it's relatively small, especially for broader markets. However, if you are investing in an ETF that's for a specific niche or sector, the expense ratio could be a little higher. Another thing you may want to pay attention to is the top 10 holdings. So the top 10 holdings really gives you a good grasp of what's the real substance inside the ETF. Besides that, another thing I might want to say, if you're investing in the older ETF, I would check out its performance, 1 year to 3 year to 5 year and to 10 years. When the ETF, the inception date, when it first was developed. Maybe the providers, is it by Vanguard, Fidelity? Those are, some of the things that you might want to look into. I do want to mention one other thing. Kind of decide whether a good price point is right. You could look at the NAV. NAV is the net asset value of all of the states together. So if it's above the NAV, that means it could be selling at a little bit of a premium. But if it's at below it, that means it could be selling at a discount relative to the assets of the whole ETF. And that concludes Dow Stock Talk. I hope you really enjoyed what you've seen. If you did, hit the like button below. And if you really enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. I'm out.